Good afternoon, this is Zachary from Zachary Sweeps. I'm just doing this quick video on this traditional wood burning stove, and basically it's an inspection hatch up here. Reason being is that inside here the baffle plate has bolts in it, as you can see the bolts there, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know why people are still putting bolts inside wood burners, because it isn't rocket science to work out that they will, after a while, they won't work properly. That's why people put the inspection hatches up in there. The reason why they won't work after a while is because what happens to metal when it heats up? It expands, and if there's a bolt in there, and not a bolt in there, what's going to happen is the thread on the bolt is going to expand, and then you're not going to be able to get the nut off. So what happens after a while is that you try and get the nut off, and then it will snap, and then you try and get one of them sorted out. It's an absolute nightmare. So what I would suggest, if you do have these particular appliances and you do have any bolts inside your appliance, the best thing that you can do is make sure you're always only tighten them up hand tight. Never ever any bolts inside, even when it comes to the ones on the glass. As you can see these ones on the glass here, always do them up hand tight. Never do them up with a tool. Just use your hand, tighten them up. If you do these too tight, you'll see that a lot of them end up with cracks going across, and basically it's just from the heat. Of course, when they expand, they tighten, and then they'll crack the glass. Going on to these inspection hatches, they're great obviously for these particular appliances because of the baffle plate, because it's really, hit and miss. This is quite tight, the bolts on this, so I'm not going to take them out. I'd like to, but I don't want to end up, because it could end up ruining the stove, and it could end up costing a lot of money to get fixed, and sometimes it could end up costing more money than the actual appliance itself cost in the first place. But I will also point out these things here. You see these, you get gaskets for these, and they're paper gaskets. I can do it with this one, but they're just crumbly paper gaskets. That's how they turn out after a while. What I'd advise you to do is, when you buy these, you can get them online. They're very easy to get hold of. They're very common, but you want to buy a pack of them. And you want to buy a pack of 10 of them, and you want to keep hold of them. And then every time you have your chimney swept, you always want to put a new one on. A lot of people, they don't. They just try and use the old one again and again and again. And it won't work. It will just crumble up, because if you can imagine the heat that's going up in the chimney, it just crumble up. See how much it's just crumbling up into paper dust. And that's what happens. So if you do have this type of inspection hatch, on your appliance, get a packet of these, and every time you have it swept, always change them. It's the best thing you can do, and then you're always guaranteed to have a perfect seal on the top of this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the video now, because unfortunately this customer hasn't got any more of these gaskets. I will advise him for my next visit that he has them, and buys a pack of 10, and then I can replace them every time I do it. I'm just going to make sure that I've got all the mess out from down here, because obviously at the bottom base of these baffle plates, that's where the soot's going to be going down. I did have the hoover in, and I did have it covered, so not much soot would go down there, but you can put your hand up there. They're very, very tight, but yeah, and if you get too much soot in there, then obviously they're not going to draw. So I'm going to sort that out now, but just remember that. And if you ever do come across these sorts of wood burners, make sure you get everything out, because if they have too much soot building up on the baffle plate up here, then they won't draw, and then all the smoke will come back into the room. So I hope that's some use to you, but as I said, buy a packet of these. They're so cheap, and they're well worth it, and they'll seal it up, and the more it's sealed, the greater the draw, and the more heat you're going to get out of your appliance. Have a lovely afternoon from Zachary Sweeps.